Wouldn't it be great to have all of the energy you want all day long? Unfortunately, fatigue often gets in the way, even for everyday activities, and it seems to get worse every year. Here's why. When you're 20, your body has a natural ability to maintain healthy circulation, but every year that you age, your ability decreases. So what can you do to increase that natural circulation and fight fatigue? Drink Super Beets. Super Beets promotes the body's own natural ability to produce healthier circulation, resulting in increased energy and stamina all day long. Just mix a teaspoon into a few ounces of water with your choice of mild berry or black cherry flavor, and you can erase fatigue, increase your own natural energy. Call 800-664-5617 or go to danasbeats.com. And with your first order, get another 30-day supply of Super Beets free, plus indicator strips to see how Super Beets is working for you, and free shipping. Call 800-664-5617 or go to danasbeats.com today.
If Sinclair wants to come out and say, look, there's been liberal media bias for years out there, it is time to combat that. Fair enough. That is absolutely their right to say it. And you know what? A lot of people would agree with them that the mainstream media has tended to be left of center. But to pretend that this isn't that kind of statement, to pretend this is just kind of a statement of how good we are as local news reporters and how we're going to go in depth and we're going to get the real story, etc., just feels disingenuous. And that's my bigger problem.
That's Dan Abrams who is discussing that. And this, first off, I appreciate Live PD, but you can stop there. Like, you know, you can stop there. Welcome to the show. I'm Dana Lash, at Dana Lash on Twitter, official Dana Lash on Facebook. Here's the thing with the Sinclair thing that you're hearing about. Sinclair owns like 170 some odd local stations all around the country, and it's local news. It's right in your communities where you live, and if they merge with Sinclair, they will be one of the biggest. They will be the biggest player in the game. They'll be bigger than Fox. They'll be bigger than Fox. And media is freaking out because they don't like competition. That's why they're mad. There is seriously, literally, all they said was, we respect truth and journalism, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing that they said wrong. Everybody's just freaking out because they said the phrase fake news, and because the peeps who own Sinclair have a conservative leaning, and oh my gosh, we're gonna have competition. They're freaking out over that. It's lame. They are so hell-bent on remaining on keeping control of minds. They just cannot stand it. Can't stand it. And it's not even a big deal. It is not a big deal. Get over it. Golly. All these people are they're so upset over all of it. There was one station that didn't want to air the mandatory promo, but all the other ones did. And they say there's no political agenda. They spoke out in defense of it. They said, stop. There's, for real, just quit. There's no political agenda here. There's no political agenda. They said it is what it is. That's it. People need to stop freaking out. And Sinclair the senior vice president of news said, we're not sure the motivation for criticism, but we find it curious that we're attacked for asking our news people to remind their audiences that unsubstantiated stories exist on social media, which result in an ill-formed public with potentially dangerous consequences. Some of the worst unsubstantiated stories come on MSNBC and CNN. And they want you to believe that all of the media is under attack because they're being called out for their bias. That's what this is. MSNBC is like, oh, crap. Jig is up. And they're freaking out and acting like there is a full-on war against all of the press, when in reality, it's the people who have abused the faith entrusted to them by the public for just disseminating information and giving them the facts. That's it. And they're acting like, oh my gosh, pass me my smelling salts. You're just getting called out for being biased. You know what? Here is something. If you were to go to the Bob Newhart School of Psychology, here's something. Stop it. It's so simple. Knock it off. Just knock it off. Just report the facts. That's why. And you know, Sinclair obviously makes they make the case. Actually, these other networks make the case for the need for all of this, because the way that they cover everything, it is insane. It's insane. Like Dan Rather lost his ever-loving mind. He lost his ever-loving old man mind. God love him. He was so upset. Like, I can't believe this. None of this. I just remember, this is the dude. Do I need to remind people, Dan Rather and the Rathergate? He said, I have the audio, but I don't feel like playing it. Let's be clear. News anchors looking into the camera and reading a script handed down by a corporate overlord, a script meant to obscure the truth and not elucidate it, isn't journalism. It's propaganda. It's Orwellian, and it's on a slippery slope towards some of the history's most destructive forces. These are the means by which despots wrest power, silence dissent, and oppress masses. It's almost like he's talking about what he did at CBS. Huh. Remember when he pushed a fake news story about George Bush's guard service during the Vietnam War, and he ended up getting busted by the internet? Do y'all remember that? Because I do. Actually, it was Powerline that busted him. The website's still around. John Hendricker and those attorneys, they busted him, their attorneys. And they said, nope, this is a lie. Full of lies. And he got busted. So he's still butthurt. Look, dude, when you get busted and you lose your job and you lose your integrity because you know that you're lying and you're selling a lie as news, you don't get to act like this ombudsman anymore. That was a message from the management. Oh my gosh, truth in journalism? That's so bad. That's like what despots do. Wait, what? They're mad because this Sinclair Tribune merger is about to happen. That's why they're mad. They're mad because of that. I mean, when you look at all of the horrible media stories that are out there, and this, I mean, like, when you look at this, like there was the other day, this story that was being pushed about Hamas and Hamas and the IDF. The IDF just went and killed all these Palestinians. Oh my goodness. Well, actually they had killed 10 because they were terrorists and they were engaged in terrorist activity against Israel. And then the IDF was telling people don't go to this area because there's fighting, and people ended up getting killed. And Hamas decides to put this talking point out, and like our legacy media just repeated it verbatim. So that kind of stuff makes the case for Sinclair. What Sinclair's saying. Right? Or what about the story that the New York Times ran, wherein they were immediately, they had this story about Donald Trump Jr. and WikiLeaks, and they were trying to argue that somehow Don Jr. was in league with Julian Assange because he had some WikiLeaks information that actually the media, unbeknownst to them, had been made public 2 days prior, and he got it at the same time everybody else did. And they ran this huge story, and they tried to put that on him, and then they had to go back and do like a begrudged retraction. Do you remember that? Because that was another one. There's so many of them. There are so many of them. I myself have been the victim of fake news. So this kind of stuff makes the case for what Sinclair is doing. And the people who are the worst at it are the people who are screaming the loudest about it. They're mad because they're getting busted, because they're no longer free to have full influence and be able to push whatever BS they want to. That's what this is. I mean, that's all it is. And so the media is coming after. They've decided, oh my gosh, we got to go after Sinclair. We got to kill this in its crib. It's just so, these people, they cannot stand it. They can't stand it. So I don't know. I see this and I'm just like, this isn't going to stop. There are going to, because of the internet and because of new media and all of this, that this is just going to continue. We have to have more voices, not fewer voices out there. So coming up, I'm going to give you an example of some really stupid, I mean, it's one of the most embarrassing things that I've ever seen written by someone. And we're gonna fisk it. Fisk. That's how the segment should go. And that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be a grand old time. And then we'll open up some phone lines, get some calls in, and do all the other good stuff that we have to do. I had a horrible, horrible migraine yesterday. And yesterday it was 48, and today it's going to be like 75. It's nice out there, but it's like I am constantly reliant on Zyrtec right now and aspirin because the sun, it just is insane. Good grief, Texas. Give a girl a break, right? Before we get rolling, because we have a quick five coming up next. I have a story about sloths. You sent that over. That's really sad. Story about sloths. Before we get going, though, Super Beets is going to help you fight fatigue as you go throughout your workday with whatever it is that you need to get done. Super Beets can help you out. Good circulation is crucial to energy and stamina. It gets oxygen and nutrients flowing throughout your body so you can exercise longer and do more things throughout the day and recover quickly. So what can you do to promote healthy circulation? You can drink Super Beets. It promotes the body's own natural ability to produce healthier circulation. So that results in increased energy and stamina throughout the day. Super Beets is made from non-GMO beets, carefully grown, concentrated into a superfood powder. Mix a teaspoon into just like 4 ounces of water. You can pick from the mild berry or the black cherry flavor. It's all natural, no stimulants, no sugar. So there's no jittery side effects or crazy heart rate or spike or crash because of that. And all you have to do is call 800-664-5617 or visit danasbeats.com and get a 30-day supply of Super Beets free with your first order, and you can get free shipping. 800-664-5617, danasbeats.com.
Being in a live fire situation definitely is not like the movies. Almost nothing can prepare you for the real thing, but there's a new product that can help. It's called iTarget Pro. Utilizing your cell phone, their proprietary app uses a laser in place of the bullet and will detect exactly where your shots are landing. Now you can practice home defense where it matters most, in your home. You can test different angles, maximize your tactical advantage, and most importantly, be prepared should you find yourself in an unthinkable situation. Right now, save 10% with the offer code DANA when you purchase the iTarget Pro system. Competitive shooters dry fire 10 times more than they live fire, and the iTarget system will take your dry fire practice to a whole new level. Save 10% with the offer code DANA. That's the letter I, targetpro.com. itargetpro.com.
Spanning coast to coast and all over Flyover Nation.
The Dana Show.
So apparently, was it another nor'easter? What's up? That's coming, and it's like dumping all the snow, and our little Stevie's not happy.
Oh,
He sounded really mad about this.
Well, no, I was
Yeah.
just like doing my normal routine this morning, getting ready for work, and I was looking at the forecast. I thought it'd be warm today, which it is supposed to be. It's going to be like 70 something tomorrow, and then 5 inches of snow this weekend. And I don't know what the deal is, but I'm not happy about it. Let's say the least.
Yeah, see.
It's
a swamp.
April, 6th, 7th this weekend? I mean, come on. What?
And you're going to get a half a foot of snow.
I hope not.
Almost a half a foot. Almost. But 5 inches, that's pretty crazy.
And what's even worse is it's well beyond what Punxsutawney Phil said was
That
going to happen.
stupid, dumb rodent.
Well, okay, so this brings up the bigger question. Do people seriously trust a rat to predict weather?
Of course.
Because, like, my family, some of them eat those things. And I just don't, do we really trust those stupid
Are
things?
they
Or,
good eating?
Well, I know people.
I don't know. I haven't eaten one.
I know people from that area because I went to school in Pennsylvania, and they just go to drink a bunch of liquor and dance to polka music. So that's all I know about it.
That's what you do with Punxsutawney Phil?
That's what Groundhog Day is. They get wasted at 5 a.m. and they just dance to polka music. It's super weird.
Is it like, are people there off work in Pennsylvania?
Well, it's at like
For Groundhog Day?
6 a.m. So I don't know. It's in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what they do. They do take off that day in the town though. It's weird.
That's like a serious thing, man.
Yeah,
The
it's
home of Punxsutawney Phil.
Punxsutawney,
right?
PA, yeah.
Didn't, I don't think it was Punxsutawney Phil, but didn't Bill de Blasio kill one of those damn things? He like threw it or something on the ground.
Did
There's
he
video. Go
Did
watch.
he throw it against the
Just
wall?
He violently dropped.
Yeah, it's like, how do I animal? And he just threw it.
Did he stop and frisk a rodent? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, it was a Terry stop for some Lucy's. That's what it was. It was a Terry stop for some loose cigarettes, and the groundhog died. That's what ended up happening. Good night. Yeah, see, this is why you don't trust rats.
Full circle.
That's why you don't.
Full circle.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and kick it into quick five.
It's time for Dana's Quick Five.
All right. So Jim Acosta yelled at Trump while Trump was coloring with children at the White House Easter egg roll. And I was looking at this. It said that because I saw a video of him doing it, and it was just, listen to this. This is audio soundbite 15. This is really annoying. This is what he did. Not 15, that's DACA. No, but this is, he was yelling at him while they were doing all of it. And is it? Isn't that it? Okay, yeah, go ahead, play it. Let's hear him.
Mr. President, what about the DACA kids? Should they worry about what's going to happen to them, sir?
The Democrats have really let them down. They've really let them down. They had this great opportunity. The Democrats have really let them down. It's a shame. And now people are taking advantage of DACA, and that's a shame.
What about your gas? I remember what they did that with Mitt Romney. And then Acosta everyone else was just getting footage, and Acosta I think he was yelling more for the benefit of everybody else than that. I think he was just doing it more for the benefit of everybody else. Moving on down the line here. I got a lot of stuff up. Trump is sending the military to the border because there's a caravan. We're going to talk about this. A caravan of like over 1,000 people that are marching through all the way up. I mean, they're in a Mexican town right now, and there's just a huge number of people. And I guess they're wanting to try. It's over 1,500. They're marching just with that. Mexico's not even stopping them because they're not Mexican. They're from Honduras and other countries. And Mexico's like, nah, because you're going to the U.S. It ain't even nothing. So we're going to talk about this because he's sending actually military down there as well. And apparently they have a list of demands. Wait, what? I don't know. That's one of the things that I was reading. I don't know. We should probably, before. That seems what? So they're 400 miles now closer to the U.S. We'll get into all of that as well. Kareem, this is Hollywood Reporter. This is really kind of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote this piece at Hollywood Reporter. He says, "Don't be fooled. Roseanne is really TV's most anti-Trump show." He said, which I disagree, but he says that it's he's writing this because apparently Trump was taking credit for Roseanne's big ratings, and Roseanne was kind of laughing about it. But he says that actually she's not a conservative, and I don't want people to think that she is. She's not a conservative. She's just, I mean, she supported Trump because she liked what he was, economically, she liked what he was talking about. And KIRO Channel 7, authorities seized a bunch of sloths from an Olympia house in Washington and a bunch of other exotic animals. It was an anonymous tip. They had South American tree sloths, an Asian monitor lizard, and a bunch of other weird stuff. A tree sloth can sell for $5,000 to $7,000, which raises the question of who's purchasing tree sloths. None of them can be owned or sold without federal and state permits. And it's a sloth rescue in Oregon. That's literally how they're registered. A sloth rescue, because all the sloths there. So they said that they're concerned that they're breeding them and all of this stuff, and they've taken the animals to a private sanctuary. This is really sloth rescue. Who let that go through? Sloth rescue, really? Stay with us. More of the Dana Show back after this.
Follow along on Twitter @DLash.
And official Dana Lash on Facebook.
It's called red flag laws. Indiana, Vice President Mike Pence and Governor Mitch Daniels have supported it in the state of Indiana. It's been used 800 times. If somebody's a threat and you know they're a threat, you need to have the tools to take that gun away.
It's amazing because, I did this. I broke this story last night on NRA TV, 5 p.m. Central, by the way, and was talking to Carrie Pickett, who's been working the story. And the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School, I'm not quite sure if you heard it. Do we have the audio of that call, by the way, which we should, because it was, a big story from last night. It's on my Twitter feed. That she had spoken with a teacher who wanted to remain anonymous because obviously this individual is a teacher at the school. Carrie also corroborated the accounts with a couple of other sources at the school and also with apparently Secret Service because they had a Secret Service someone with the Secret Service who came out and they performed a security assessment at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. And this was months before the shooting took place. So they went out and they performed this assessment. And this guy went through, was able to walk right into the school. Had no problems getting into the school. and walked around and put Post-it notes on every student that would have represented a fatality. And I think he was able to get like 20 some out of them. Isn't that unreal? Like, was able to go right in. Sat down and talked with the school, gave recommendations. One of the recommendations particularly concerned fire alarms. And he was saying, well, if you hear a fire alarm, if a fire alarm is pulled, you don't want to go from your classroom, which is secure, and run out into the hall, which you don't know what's happening. You need to stay in place, and you need to have a standard operating procedure for this. And it'll save lives. And that's one of the things that this teacher said. If we have this is one of the things. Now, her voice was, or his voice, the voice was disguised.
You sent it's 4.5 minutes, so I don't know which part you want.
Well, you guys need to be paying attention to this stuff. This, it's just find it in there. But the teacher had said that this was, it was troubling because this assessment had been done before the shooting took place, and that none of the recommendations were actually followed up on. Nothing was implemented. And you're talking about recommendations that can save lives, particularly the fire alarm stuff. And they said that nothing, they ignored it. They didn't do anything. Listen, this is part of the interview.
There is blood on many people's hands through this whole thing. Definitely on the principal's hands, but Sheriff Israel, definitely blood on his hands, because the BSO, not only the school resource officer, but no BSO deputies ever went in, even while shots were being fired inside of the 1200 building. But the superintendent and the school board also, because of their policies.
It's because, and there was even more that this teacher said too, and that this, I mean, they could have and these are things that were they were not expensive to implement. Do you know what I mean? Like, these were, for instance, the fire alarm thing is relatively, it was very inexpensive stuff to do. Stay in your classroom, before you run out into the hall. Make sure that your doors are locked. Listen.
Said is we needed to reinforce the various entrances to school. Make sure the gates are locked at all times, and that anyone trying to get onto campus should be checked in by someone. Don't just leave open gates. Secondly, regarding fire alarms, as it is at Stoneman Douglas, when a fire alarm goes off, everyone is told to exit the building immediately. And the former Secret Service agent said, no, why go from a known, which is a secure classroom environment, to an unknown? When you're evacuating to a fire alarm, you're going into an unknown situation. So that is a recommendation that was made. And during this mass shooting at Stoneman Douglas, the fire alarm went off, kids evacuated and staff immediately, and people were shot in the hall by the shooter. So if that one recommendation were implemented, lives would have been saved, and it wasn't.
So this is crazy. None of these were, and Carrie reached out to the school. They had no response. Of course, I would ignore it too, particularly if I was in any way liable for anything that happened. Remember how I told you that the brother of the murderer was able to just get into the school and was skateboarding around and doing all of this stuff, right? Bypassed doors and fences, they said. That was local reporting. I think it was Miami Herald that had reported this. And by the way, CNN and MSNBC should look and see how Florida Sun Sentinel and Miami Herald report, and some of the local news down there, because they've been doing amazing work. That's journalism. If this was about saving lives, where's the outrage over this? If this was truly about saving lives, this is what aggravates me with the gun control lobby. Because they're not interested in saving lives. Otherwise, they would be doing everything they can to make sure that this doesn't happen again. This had nothing to do with guns. This had everything to do with someone. None of this was followed up on. Not only that, but they had an assessment done. You know, they had 2 assessments. Do you know that they did a security assessment on Cruz himself? And they determined he was dangerous. Then they did a separate security assessment for the school. And they didn't follow up on anything. This isn't about saving lives. If it were, they would be outraged. If this was about saving lives, his brother wouldn't have been able to get into the school days after. If this was about saving lives, they would be doing everything humanly possible to make sure that that school was protected. Clear backpacks don't cut it. Clear backpacks don't have anything to do with 45 missed calls to the Broward sheriff. Clear backpacks don't have anything to do with 2 missed FBI reports. Clear backpack don't have nothing to do with that. That's not a clear backpack. He was barred from even bringing a backpack. A clear backpack's not going to stop a dude who just walks into a school. I mean, if he can't take a gun to school and he does, what the hell do you think a clear backpack's going to do? This isn't about saving lives at all. This is why I get aggravated at them. I get incredibly aggravated at them. Because it's not about saving lives. This is about nothing more than an agenda. It's about an agenda. If the gun control lobby was genuinely interested in saving lives, then they would be all over this. Well, why were these not followed up on? Why was this not done? And they haven't even expressed outrage over this. They haven't even expressed any concern whatsoever over this problem. And I think that's telling. And it's they betray what their whole motive is. If that recommendation were implemented, lives would have been saved, and it wasn't. That's what this teacher said. Lives would have been saved. And it wasn't implemented. And as a result, lives weren't saved. Now, whose fault is that? I mean, ultimately, it's the murderer's fault for pulling the trigger. But there are people culpable. And they're not law-abiding innocent Americans who live thousands of miles away. They're the people who run the school and didn't do anything to follow up. They knew that there was enough of a threat to do an assessment. But that's it. Nothing. Nothing. The outrage isn't about saving lives. The outrage is about, it's just a tactic. It is a tactic that they're using, and they're focusing on the guns. That's it. They have not expressed any concern over this at all. Don't you think I think, when they have an assessment, don't you think that the parents would want to know? Especially if they realize that they've lost children as a result? I've been speaking with a couple of the parents. Privately. They can't believe this. And you know why the school doesn't want to address it? Because it means that they're in some way, there's some liability there. They already have one lawsuit against them. Gun control lobby ignores that. Yeah, where's the outrage over the threat assessment that was performed months ahead? Where's that? Just awful. I'm going to have more on this story tonight on NRA TV at 5 p.m. Central, too, by the way. And you're not going to want to miss that development for sure. Moving on down the line here, one of my favorite law-abiding all-American, veteran employing companies based in Florida are Kel-Tec. And they do things right. They have just the 4 things that they believe when they're creating your either what you take to the range, what you practice with when it comes to acquiring targets at the range, or whether you're just, whatever it is. Design, because they think that that accuracy, consistent accuracy is important. Quality of engineering and design, as well as manufacturing. Reliability, will your firearm work like it's supposed to when it needs to? I mean, are you going to have a malfunction when your life is in danger? And safety. Keltec also thinks that affordability is important, because what good is all the other stuff if you can't afford it? You have to go and check out everything Keltec offers. The RDB line, the new the KSG tactical shotgun line, awesome. All kinds of stuff. And go and check out the PMR 30 as well. I had this at the range over the weekend, and it is so fun. It is so much fun. Check them out at KeltecWeapons.com, KELTEC weapons.com.
Being in a live fire situation definitely is not like the movies. Almost nothing can prepare you for the real thing, but there's a new product that can help. It's called iTarget Pro. Utilizing your cell phone, their proprietary app uses a laser in place of the bullet and will detect exactly where your shots are landing. Now you can practice home defense where it matters most, in your home. You can test different angles, maximize your tactical advantage, and most importantly, be prepared should you find yourself in an unthinkable situation. Right now, save 10% with the offer code DANA when you purchase the iTarget Pro system. Competitive shooters dry fire 10 times more than they live fire, and the iTarget system will take your dry fire practice to a whole new level. Save 10% with the offer code DANA. That's the letter I, targetpro.com. itargetpro.com.
Fisking the news media to give you the truth.
It's Dana Lash.
I am amazed at the insanity of Kurt Eichenwald. I think he's crazy. So he's going after, my friend Ben Shapiro and him are arguing. And he's apparently doing this undercover story on Kyle Kushev, who's one of the students who's a Parkland survivor. And he says that Kyle's mentally disturbed, and he says that he had a psychologist secretly analyze Kyle, and he thinks that Kyle's a part of this crazy media conspiracy. Now, these are real things that a grown man who's like in his 50s wrote. And it is insane. I'm reading this, and it is one of the craziest things I've ever read. It's like, I don't know what it's like to do meth, but I would imagine it's like talking to Kurt Eichenwald. And he is crazy. He's like, I had a psychiatrist secretly, assess him. And he says he's crazy.
A conservative one, too. So
yeah, because just like how he kept changing his story. I didn't mean to attack Kyle on Twitter. I was attacking this other Kyle from Parkland. And then he's like, no, I was attacking that one CJ kid, who's this other kid who's a conservative who is not from Florida, but whatever. So insane. Anyway, I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to enjoy this one play out. For sure. Yeah. I mean, Kurt Eichenwald's bizarre. I think you need to go back to the tentacle hentai there, dude, because it's seriously, he's cray. This is crazy. He's just a big bully. He's a big, dumb bully. And he just likes going after people. And he has such a short fuse. And then he got mad and said, people who are sending me strobes, I guess he's threatening to sue the internet. I don't know. I mean... I'm just watching this. This is just. So Vanity Fair has a writer who's attacking a Parkland victim. What are you going to do, Vanity Fair? If I was a fascist, I'd go after your sponsors. But see, I'm not a snowflake, and I hate using that term, but I'm using it now because I'm not a snowflake about my convictions. I'll step to, but you don't. You just want to shut people down. Yeah. I mean, this is it is crazy. And I think he's just going, I had to mute him because I couldn't pay attention to him anymore. But yeah, he is insane. And he's just going still on and on and on. What does he do? Like, I would love to know does he get paid to sit around and in his, underwear and like go off on kids and people who talk to, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure Kurt Eichenwald out, but maybe again, tentacle hentai. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Good night. Good night. So one of the other things that we'll talk about. So I wore, this is stupid, but I'm sorry to do this to you because it was a news item apparently, because this is how horrible and stupid people are. I wore a bun on television And it was a nice big giant bun. I have a lot of hair. And I wore it on top of my head for television. And so Michael Ian Black, who's some actor, and a bunch of other people, including Think Progress and everyone else, lost their Politico, lost their ever-loving minds. Men, all men, progressive men, lost their ever-loving minds.
Why?
Because I wore my hair in a bun on top of my head.
No, but what did that do? Like, what does that do?
They said that, oh my gosh, there's so many of them. They just like freaked out. They're like, oh, wait, you're a mom now? Like, I have been. And I'm wearing my hair in a bun again today, too. So whatever. And I may just do 2 or 3 of them just to mess with you. This is what they freak out about. They don't talk about the stories, like, for instance, the school. But they're going to talk about my hair bun.
Seems sexist.
Yeah.
To me.
They're not going to talk about the fact that Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School ignored a security assessment months before, but they're going to talk about my hair bun. Not even kidding you.
That's how you know they don't have anything. They've got nothing.
Yeah, not even kidding you. Not even kidding you. Anyway, so so back to Kurt Eichenwald for a minute. I don't know. Like, guys, I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm kind of on the struggle bus right now because I don't want to go after people and shut them down and remove voices. But at the same time, I feel like if the left isn't going to clean up their own garbage, maybe we should. So I'm on the struggle bus. I'm like capital L with this stuff, but I'm on the struggle bus a little bit, mainly just because I dislike him immensely because he's crazy. I hate the fact that he's in Texas, but I don't know. I'm on the bus. Like, I'm trying to be a better person. It's really hard because I'm getting tempted. I am tempted. But I'm just like, Vanity Fair, what? Are you going to run this story where your 50-year-old some odd creepy writer is going off on a kid and is like fantasizing about him or something in direct message with the psychiatrist? Like, what? Anyway. Yeah. We'll talk more about that coming up. I'm eating this healthy chicken and I don't like it. No, it's not. This had nothing to do with the radio show, but it was building up and I had to share it, Kane. This is not good. Good Time Glaive needs to like sprinkle cinnamon on it or something. Folks, quick break. Back after this. Stay with us.
Until we can have a wall and proper security, we're going to be guarding our border with the military. That's a big step. We really haven't done that before, or certainly not very much before.
True. So the president says, hey, we're going to go be sending some of the military down there until we get the border under control. Welcome back at DLash on Twitter, official Dana Lash on Facebook. The media has been, I don't know. The media, it's like they just don't even like this story all that much because they don't like how it's being written. They don't like how people are writing about it or how people are talking about it. Most of the people, it's like 1,500 some odd people. Most of them are from Honduras. They're Honduran. And they're in Mexico, and they have a BuzzFeed reporter marching with them who is not so much a reporter but a life coach and cheerleader. And they want political asylum in Mexico or the United States. Well, they're not going to get it in Mexico. Ask Mexico. Why is no one going? Everyone's freaking out because they're like, Trump, you're not going to let these people in. You're so mean. Why are none of these people going, Mexico, you're not going to let these people stay. You're so mean. How come none of them are asking that? I mean, they're not even in Mexico legally. They want political asylum. There were I think the number was 200 people who sought political asylum in 2017. Only 3 got it. Yeah. So, but this is like 1,500 people. They're like, don't act like this is a mob of people. Okay, what do you call a group of 1,500 people? Good grief. So this, Adolfo Flores is writing about this as well. And Flores is a national security correspondent for BuzzFeed and said that some of them, if they're on foot, they'll probably at some point meet up with Mexican authorities. Maybe, I don't know. So that number, it's 1,500 now, but that number may decrease as they march forward. That's if Mexico's like, nope. But Border Patrol is obviously going to have to deal with this. I guess they thought that, I don't know. Did they think that they were just all going to 1,500 strong march to the border and then be like, let us in and okay. Seriously. Did they? I'm just not quite sure. The only reason that Mexico's even doing anything right now is because Trump talked about it and embarrassed them. Oh, don't be like, that sounds like Trump can say. No, actually, that's what happened. Remove head from sphincter, then opine. That's what happened. Because they were, seriously, how did they get this far into Mexico? Mexico is not, it's not like a party. You know, you can't go in and just waltz right in and do whatever. And they're also engaging in political speech. So they have their signs and all of that stuff. That these two things that are big bad no-nos if you're not a Mexican in Mexico, if you're a non-citizen, a non-national, two things that you can't do. So now they're like, well, I guess we're going to have to do something because he embarrassed them. So some of them are on freight. Some of them broke off from the larger group to get on freight trains because the heat was really hot. Not, of attention, but just literally the heat, the weather. And others, I guess, the ones that are going to march on foot, those are the ones that they'll probably meet up with authorities. So this, it's pretty, he's going to have the military. I think this looks good for him. And I also think that this kind of highlights this is not how you do it, not how you handle it. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I'm curious to see how many people will be there at the border. But that audio of him saying, sending people, sending military to the border, and everyone's freaking out about it. You realize how many opioids go across the border, right? You know that, right? So that, and the border agents, I've been to the border. I've toured the border with border agents. And it was pretty, actually, I went down there. I'll tell you the story. I went down there. This is back when I worked for the Blaze. And this is when Steve Bannon ran Breitbart still. And I'm going to come back to that because it's important to the story. So we went down there and because we went down to tour the border, and also because there are some towns that are near the border that are really, their resources are being depleted. And the thing that I was most impressed about was the area that we went into. People were doing everything they could, because this was about the time that Barack Obama, who was in office at the time, he was looking for ways to spend more federal money and do what he could in order to send more of our tax dollars to to have it spent on resources for those who enter illegally. And there were two groups of people in this town. The first was a group of people who wanted to do everything that they could to make sure that everything from medical to wherever, that their resources weren't depleted. And so they wanted to pitch in and do what they can so that, because this is also the same Border Patrol group that was using its own money for diapers. And went down there, and also one of the other groups down there, Catholic Charities, those were the people who were just happy to take people in coming right across the border, put them on a bus and send them wherever. And they did not agree with me. I ended up getting into an argument with one of them. And a certain unnamed senator broke it up. Seriously, because I was asking questions and I disagreed. And that's what I'm going to do, because it's my right as an American citizen, especially when we're talking about my tax dollars. Whenever you spend my money, you invite me to the discussion. That's how that works. So we went down there, and because also, this is also the same part where they had what they call them coyotes. They had drug runners, for the lack of a better, they work for the different cartels, and they would bring kids across. And then after they brought the kids across, they told the parents that you have to work for us for an inordinate amount of time to pay off what we just did for you. And so it's like indentured servitude. They would take the people's kids across, but then they made the adults like they would separate families. And I mean, these cartels run everything. You don't cross the border without the cartels knowing. That's what we learned from the Border Patrol chief down there. And we met with the sheriff, met with the chief. We went out and toured it with a number of agents, and they're like, nobody crosses here without the cartel knowing. They control it. They know from the Mexico side. They control everything. And one of the things that happened was they were telling me a story about a 9-year-old boy who was paraplegic, and he was dumped on the American side of the Rio, because everybody thinks the Rio is just this big. It's not. In some areas you can just walk across it. In some areas it's more like a creek. The area we were in, it was very hilly. There was very tropical, a lot of shrub, lot of thick greenery and shrubs and all of that. A lot of snakes, all kinds of stuff. And we were down there at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and they had just cartel had just tried to distract Border Patrol by firing 50 cal over, and they think that when they did that, they were running drugs. What they'll do is they'll use the kids to occupy Border Patrol, and then they run drugs across. And because they know that the kids will get the more immediate response from Border Patrol than just like some adults. So they had a 9-year-old that was thrown over. There were other kids that were in the group, but his wheelchair was thrown over too. And he had been laying out there for a couple hours. I saw the pictures. I was down there. I talked with the agent that actually found him. And they were telling me all these stories, and they were like, this is what the cartels do to try to tie up our, it's awful. They throw these kids over. So I remember when Glenn went down there, he brought teddy bears for those kids. Those were the ones. And then Steve Bannon, who has this like fetish with, he hated me because I work for the Blaze. And Steve Bannon had once publicly vowed to take me down, and absolutely hates my guts. I mean, Steve and I worked under Andrew, and after Andrew passed away, Steve assumed control, and I was out of there because I thought he's a horrible leader, as you can see. And I have my reasons. And he's just incompetent. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. He really doesn't. As you can see that from what he did in the White House. And that's why he was jettisoned. So he decided that he was going to make up the story that it was somehow about, supporting illegal immigration and et cetera, et cetera. In the meantime, I think it was Glenn handed Border Patrol down there a check for like over $60,000 or something like that. There was no news stories about it because it wasn't a public thing. He ended up, some of the doctors that were volunteering their time so that there wouldn't be this run on the hospitals, and people didn't want to be used by the Obama administration as an example of why we need more tax dollars to go to this. He gave them money and gave the Border Patrol like a huge chunk of money so that they could keep doing what they're doing and even bring on more people if they needed to. And that ended up, and it was just horrible, just ridiculous attacks from the Bannon-directed Breitbart. They never reached out and talked to anybody. They slimed everybody. They slimed me, and I was covering it because I was actually amazed. I was unhappy with what Catholic Charities was doing down there. You can still take care of people without flagrantly violating the law. And anyway, so, these people who don't, Breitbart, which was just content to rewrite AP stories over and over again and call that original reporting. Meanwhile, we were actually down there meeting with people and talking with people. And it really aggravated me that, nobody actually talked about what was happening, and that was when that was at the height of it. The numbers have decreased somewhat, but it's gotten even more dangerous now because they're still using people. You have cartels that are still they have to get drugs across. And so it's still to an extent happening. But these kids, they have, what Border Patrol was telling me was basically a rape tree. I don't even know how to call it. Any kids, particularly girls, they would give girls like the morning after pill and that, and the girls just had to kind of, they were pretty much like told, you're probably going to get raped or taken advantage of. And when the coyotes, the cartel people, when they would get a hold of the kids, those that they violated, they'd throw their underwear or a piece of their clothing on this tree. That was from Border Patrol. You guys didn't know that, didn't you? Did you? No, because Steve Bannon was too busy carrying out his fetish against people he doesn't like. He was attacking people who do more than he does to fight for democracy and to fight for democracy in this constitutional republic and liberty. And so he didn't report on any of that. That's why he has no place now. But this was, when I look at this, I'm glad that, finally here, the president's like, you know what, until we get the border wall, we're going to send the military down there. Yes. When you think about think about the drugs that come across that border. Think about it. They've shot at our Border Patrol agents. They've killed them. Of course, that was with Obama and his gun running. So I'm happy to see this happen. This has been a long time coming. A long time coming. And so all those people that are freaking out about it, I didn't know that you all were so upset over rule of law. Unbelievable. We have a lot more to get into. Blink Home Security is going to help keep your home protected even before your alarm goes off. That's how it's supposed to work, right? That's how at least a good home security system should work. Blink Home Security Blink is a motion active video camera. So the second that Blink detects somebody snooping around outside your home, you get an alert and a video clip of whatever's going on your smartphone. Like, for instance, so there was a neighbor's cat that was at our door, and I kept getting all these notifications from Blink. I'm like, what in the world? So I went and looked at it, and there were these, I could see pictures of it. And at first, I couldn't tell what it was. I was like, it's a Bigfoot. But then finally I could see what it is. And also, wherever you are in the world, you can monitor your home from your smartphone. The cameras they're wire free, so you can it's so easy to put them anywhere. They set up in minutes. They run on batteries. You don't have to replace forever. I've had mine going for months now, and I have 2 of them outside, and I don't have to worry about them. You get 3 Blink cams from what the other guys typically charge for 1, plus you get an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/Dana. That's blinkprotect.com/Dana.
Being in a live fire situation definitely is not like the movies. Almost nothing can prepare you for the real thing, but there's a new product that can help. It's called iTarget Pro. Utilizing your cell phone, their proprietary app uses a laser in place of the bullet and will detect exactly where your shots are landing. Now you can practice home defense where it matters most, in your home. You can test different angles, maximize your tactical advantage, and most importantly, be prepared should you find yourself in an unthinkable situation. Right now, save 10% with the offer code DANA when you purchase the iTarget Pro system. Competitive shooters dry fire 10 times more than they live fire, and the iTarget system will take your dry fire practice to a whole new level. Save 10% with the offer code DANA. That's the letter I, targetpro.com. itargetpro.com.
Listen live around the world
at danaradio.com.
So Vladimir Putin released a statement saying that they're going to investigate the poisoning of that British spy, the ex-Russian British spy. And meanwhile, OJ still looks for the real killer. Yeah, you guys believe that? Yeah, I don't think so. Let's kick it into Quick 5.
It's time for Dana's Quick 5.
So I'm really excited about this, and we're going to talk about it even more later on. You guys remember how I would always make fun of the My Pillow, right? My Pillow. It took me 10 years to make My Pillow, right? And I made fun of it for a good year, right? Like, I'm out of shiny shirts and gold medallions are going to sell me that My Pillow. Well, then I got a My Pillow for Christmas. Someone gave it to me. And it was actually quite comfortable, and it's been the pillow like I said, pillow, right? It sounds weird, pillow, going back to how I do it normally. And I've been sleeping on it, and it's actually been pretty comfortable. Well, then I found out that Mike Lindell says I did not take my advertising down from any Fox News programs, like Ingram's Fox News program. And he goes, nor do I intend to. Well, I'm just buying me another My Pillow. Dang. We were going to try to get Mike on, but he's had vocal cord surgery. That's pretty hardcore, so we hope he gets better. I love it. I love when businesses are like, give the middle one finger salute, right? I love it. Students can earn credit for attending a white privilege conference, says Campus Reform. Yes, it is. Students at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs can earn 3 academic credits through a course that requires them to attend the annual white privilege conference. That sounds horrible. It's they teach courses like unmasking whiteness and social health justice. What? This sounds horrible. Like that, I'm going to come back to that too, because that sounds like nothing I would ever want to go to, ever. And a man exposes himself to a child in a Target women's bathroom. Good job, Target, with your bathrooms. Pushed the child into the stall. NBC Chicago. It was at a Target store in South Loop. Yeah, good job, Target. Stay with us. More of the show ahead after this.
Giving you the facts from Anchorage to Alabama.
It's Dana Lash.
At this point, we can't afford to be anything less than perfect. We have to try and strive for perfection and fairness every day. And this was a massive failure.
It's like something out of the movie 1984.
George Orwell online, too.
Orwellian.
Historians will be looking at this and saying the people who spoke out against the erosion of democratic institutions in this time were the ones who were on the right side of history.
It's not journalism, it's propaganda. Most of us have heard this kind of thing in, totalitarian regimes where somebody has to repeat what the government says. In this case, it's what the corporation says.
There has to be an understanding that this style propaganda has to stop.
I spent a lot of time in China, which is a country that has an actual state media, and it rings very familiar. This is the way authoritarian states operate. I mean,
what Trump and what now Sinclair is doing is conflating this idea of fake news, which is the purposeful manipulation and fabrication of fact, with stories that they find somehow unflattering. And that is really what's chilling to democracy.
Oh my gosh, they're so upset because Sinclair said they don't want to pay attention to fake news and they just want truth and reporting. Oh my gosh, not truth and reporting. Oh! Can't have that. Yeah, I'm just so done with these people. They're just mad. They're mad. That's what it is. They're mad because they can't control things anymore. They're mad because if Sinclair, if this deal with the Tribune goes through, they're going to be the biggest player in the game. Dang. It's kind of tough for you, isn't it? I don't care. I don't care. And they want to act like that's not anything that they haven't done for eons. I'm not even saying that it's the same thing as what they do. They're just saying we don't do fake news. We want truth and reporting. I mean, for crying out loud, that's not the end of that's what you should be doing. Good grief.
Is it just me, or doth they protest too much?
Yeah, they protesteth a lotteth. Good grief. Oof, 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 oof. So this, it's ridiculous. You know what? I thought that Democrats for the longest time liked background checks. Right? They love background checks, right? They're always like background checks, universal background checks, which are just like background checks, but we're going to make two laws that are the same thing. So Lou Groziak over at the Daily Caller has been doing some for the past year, and we've talked to him about this. He found out that 44 Democrats, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz, exempted these Pakistani IT aides from background checks. Do you guys remember Imran Awan and his family? Because they all got hired and paid with your tax dollars by Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And everyone, they were 44 Democrats. They hired Pakistan-born IT aides. They paid them top of the salary. And they ended up, they made unauthorized access. They had unauthorized access to congressional data, and they apparently stole stuff, etc. They got, according to congressional documents, they were exempted from background checks. Yeah. Yeah, they waived background checks on every one of them. The whole family. They hired the whole family, and they waived background checks on every one of them. So, like, Abid Awan, he kind of had some pretty crazy stuff. Like, he had bankruptcy. He had a $1 million+ bankruptcy, all these lawsuits against him. He had 3 convictions. He had a DUI conviction. And public court records show that Imran and Abid Awan operated a car dealership that referred to as CIA that took $100,000 from Iraqi government officials, one who is a fugitive from U.S. authorities. Numerous members of the family were tied to these cryptic LLCs that operated out of Imran's Awan's residence in Virginia. Imran Awan had tons of women calling the police on him. He had tons of misdemeanor convictions for driving offenses. Yeah, so see, the IG reported 2 years ago that they were logging onto servers for departments they didn't work for. They were using all these people's personal usernames, uploading data off of the House network, and said that they were behaving nefariously. That's what the independent inspector general said. And he said as well that they were not vetted. 2 other reports came out that said they were not vetted. So, wow. Just, they were not vetted. They were nothing. Oh, by the way, Debbie Wasserman Schultz introduced the bullet control bill last Monday, right? The background checks on people who want to buy ammunition. But she didn't want to do background checks on Pakistani IT aides that stole stuff off of House servers. Yeah. So just to recap, Debbie Wasserman Schultz wants you to have a background check to purchase bullets, but she doesn't think that Pakistani IT aides. Yeah. That's, I mean, it's crazy. This is crazy. Crazy. But they love background checks, though. Yeah. Right. He also had the hard drive, and he was going to leave the country with it when he was arrested. Imran Awan. They had all kinds of stuff. Like they were threatening their mother. Crazy, crazy stuff. But hey. It's pretty, I am amazed in watching all of this. Like they have all of these, all of the red flags that came up with their names. And they ended up getting, so DC police, they banned the Awans from accessing the network after the inspector general said, hey, here's some shady stuff, pretty nefarious, he's stealing stuff. And then Debbie Wasserman Schultz kept them on staff anyway. Imran Awan was in the building and had her laptop. What? How is that even possible? Just crazy. So I don't know. This is something, and they remember these are the same Democrats that said Russia hacked their servers, and then when the FBI said, "Okay, let's investigate," they said, "Wait, no, it's okay, we're good." They'd never allowed the FBI to a forensic investigation at all. So, just think it's kind of weird. You have all kinds of people: Ted Lieu of California, Gregory Meeks, Marcia Fudge. All these. They had 44 Democrats that just waived the background check. And they never, when Luke Rosiak, he reached out to every single one of them. None of them said what criteria they used to determine that, hey, these guys are okay to let them just have access to everything in the House of Representatives. They never said what criteria they used to judge these people, like, cool, fit. It's insane. It is insane. So I don't know. I'm just, I am fascinated by this. Just fascinated by this. And they still haven't. Nobody in the media really, aside, Fox has reported on this. Luke Rosiak's doing everything. CNN won't talk about it. And they won't talk about it. And MSNBC won't talk about it. All kinds of stuff. Just insane. But see here at the same time, they're saying that everyone else is somehow risking national security. We still don't even know exactly what all they took. We don't even know what all they took. Just, FYI. Just craziness. So we have, I'm still watching this Kurt Eichenwald thing. Kurt Eichenwald smeared Parkland student Kyle Kushov. He wrote Ben Shapiro, this middle-aged dude, Kurt Eichenwald, and said, I'm working on an article about you and your relationship with Kyle, which Sounds very nefarious, doesn't it? Like, what are you suggesting? So Kurt then says that there's a big media conspiracy that Kyle's in the lead, and he says Kyle's in need of psychiatric help. He said, I have a psychiatrist friend, and he assessed him like secretly, privately. And he said that, he's really damaged and he's mentally unbalanced and he needs help. And, he's crazy. And this is all a huge conspiracy theory. And I am greatly disturbed. And then he just like started going on and on and on. This dude is crazy. Kurt Eichenwald is crazy. That is 11 trillion times worse than anything that was ever said to or about David Hogg. So where's the weeping and gnashing of the teeth? Yeah, I know. Where's that at? Anyway, we have a lot more to get into coming up, including, I hate saying caravan. It's not a caravan. That sounds like it's a party, doesn't it? It's the media's term. And then we're also going to get into the DNC vice chair who says, yes, it is time to repeal the Second Amendment. We'll get into all the DNC vice chair, just FYI. Yeah, I know. Not big. Just, they're being honest, though, right? Right? Is that, do we want to give them credit for that? I don't know. Anyway, before we get going, Super Beets is going to help fight your fatigue and bring energy. But it's all about circulation. Circulation is crucial to energy and stamina. It gets oxygen and nutrients flowing throughout your body so you can exercise longer, do more for everyday activities, recover more quickly, and you can promote healthy circulation by drinking Super Beets, because Super Beets promotes the body's own natural ability to produce healthier circulation, resulting in increased energy and stamina all day. Super Beets is made from non-GMO beets, carefully grown and then concentrated into a superfood powder. 1 teaspoon into a few ounces of water. You can choose from mild berry or black cherry flavor. No jittery side effects, no spike or crash because there is no sugar. So to erase fatigue and improve circulation, call 800-664-5617 or visit danasbeats.com. Get a 30-day supply of Super Beets free with your first order and indicator strips to measure how Super Beets is working for you, and free shipping. Call 800-664-5617, danasbeats.com.
Miss anything from the show? Check out the full podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen.
I'm drinking this kombucha, right? Bucha. Because I got it when I got my healthy meal.
And let's be honest, you haven't drank a thing yet.
Well, because all these barf bits floated up to the top. And because you're like, open it carefully. And I did. And then it was all fizzy. And I was like, okay, cool. And then this chunk of something floated up to the top, like a chunk, dude. And then these other little chunks were like, don't leave us. And they floated up to the top too. And now they're all sitting there acting like I'm going to be drinking that when I open it.
It's the fruit pulp and the positive bacteria.
I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time?
The fruit pulp and the positive bacteria.
So that's like dirt.
No.
That's I feel like you're doing word salad to me.
None of it's dirt.
Bacteria. Like what's on the floor.
It's what belongs in your intestines, right? So you got to drink it, get it in there. Because if you've ever taken antibiotics in your life, you've destroyed that beneficial bacteria in your gut. You got to get it back in there.
I swear you are a lobbyist for the probiotic people.
No one pays me anything.
Swear that's not true. I'm terrified to just look. What?
There's probably still floating on there, but you should just take it all. Just drink it all.
No, thank you.
Just pretend it's like
I'm going to pour that part out.
Dana.
No, I didn't do that. I'm going to pour this part out because that's weird stuff.
Seriously?
Yeah, because it's weird. Dude, I ain't drinking a chunk. Okay? I have texture issues. I cannot drink something if I'm if my body's expecting it to be a drink and then there's chunks in it. My mind is like, whoa, we did not have that cleared. No, we did not agree to chunks. We just thought we were getting some raspberry, pomegranate, probiotic tea, not chunks.
Well, you have a strainer, so
that's like if you're eating a cookie and there's a nut in it and you weren't warned that there is a nut in your cookie. It's the same thing. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. We did not have this agreement.
Yes.
See what I mean? Or brownies, which is even worse.
What, nut in brownies?
Yeah. That's stupid.
Love that.
No, that's horrible.
That's good stuff.
No. Only communists put nuts in brownies. I don't even care if you are out there and you do it. No.
I'm no commie.
Man, I love taking a big bite of a warm brownie, and then one of the worst things ever is that you hit a big giant nut in it. No. It is just horrible. This is horrible. I'm dying right now just talking about it.
Well, it's
yeah, I'm not
beneficial.
drinking the chunks up at the top.
The chunks are beneficial.
No, they're not.
That's all I'm saying.
No, they're not. Those are somebody else's chunks.
You can strain them out. Like if you have a
I'm
strainer,
doing that. No,
pour
I'm
it in a
not gonna.
strainer.
I'm just gonna pour it in a cup.
You're right.
I'm gonna get it out. I got a little plastic spoon here. That's how we're doing it. Dang. I'm trying not to drink soda. And I'm like, this could do it, but I didn't know that there was a chunk situation involved. So here we are. And it's not the Goonies type of chunk. It's just something really bad. Anyway, let's kick it into some Florida person.
It's time for Florida person. It's time to check what Florida is up to.
My favorite thing about this is the way that Steve sings person. He's so careful to like carry it over. Person. That's my favorite thing about that. Oh, I love it. It makes my day. All right, here we go. So, there's so many things wrong with this. You can't take sharks with you when you're out in nature. It's just not. It's like if you're in Florida, like for instance, this Miami dude, Florida man, he was in the Keys Saturday on a fishing trip. Well, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office said when Deputy Nelson Sanchez stopped Jose Medina in Islamorada, he noticed fishing rods in the car. He said, we were fishing near Indian Key Phil. Showed him some snapper in a cooler. When the deputy asked, well, what about the other cooler? Medina said, it's only a shark. And then when Sanchez flipped over the top of the large cooler, he found a clean shark that Medina, a spear fisherman, admitted was a lemon shark. He said he saw it on the shoreline, didn't want to go to waste. Now, that's a protected species in Florida, so he was cited for harvesting a protected shark species. You can't do that. You can't just be like, I'm going to take this shark with me. No, that's not how that works. Anyway, and they're like, Florida will cut you, right? I mean, Florida's like really particular about their manatees and even their alligators. They're even when they stop traffic, like a 7-foot alligator did on 295. Good night. He slowed down traffic on 295 in Jacksonville. I love how the local news says it's gator mating season. I mean, that's like their big headline. Look out, guys. Gator mating season. Woohoo! And they said that Jacksonville Sheriff's Office said they responded to a call about a wandering alligator on I-295 northbound at Butler Boulevard. I don't even know where this place is, but I am intrigued. A viewer sent dash cam footage. It showed the 7-foot-long shark, and it was just chilling by the concrete median on the interstate. Some people said that they got a glimpse of it. It was just hanging out. And they said they actually, it was Channel 9 down there. They got some footage of it, but it's just chilling, just doing what alligators do, waiting to eat you. Because that's what they do, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So when you're I don't like thievery. I don't like robbery. But I'm just saying, if you're going to rob something, the key is to put the mask on your face before you get on camera. So Orange County, Florida, a Florida man wearing a clown mask and another wearing a Jason mask robbed an Orange County Chevron early Friday morning. Authorities said that the men initially walked into the gas station without masks because they're morons, and then returned wearing them and demanded cash from the clerk. The clerk complied with the demands of the armed robbers. They fled. So they're looking for him. 2 skinny little white dudes, by the way. One of them is like super skinny. I think the handle on the door is thicker than his forearm.
Nice clear pictures.
Yeah, super nice clear pictures. Geniuses. Real men of genius. Third hour on the way. Stay with us. If you've never heard of nitric oxide, listen up. Nitric oxide is one of the most important molecules in your body. It promotes healthy circulation, which gets the oxygen and nutrients flowing throughout the body and helps support healthy blood pressure. And you can help your body produce nitric oxide naturally by drinking Super Beets. Only Super Beets is made from non-GMO beets, carefully grown and then concentrated into superfood crystals. Mix a teaspoon into a few ounces of water with your choice of the mild berry or black cherry flavor. The nutrients in Super Beets are concentrated in a way that makes them usable to the body to create nitric oxide safely and naturally. So to erase fatigue and increase your body's nitric oxide levels, call 800-664-5617 or go to danasbeats.com. With your first order, get another 30-day supply of Super Beets free, plus indicator strips to see how Super Beets is working for you, and free shipping. Call 800-664-5617 or visit danasbeats.com today.
Earlier this month, students right here in Rockledge wide walkout to protest gun violence in the wake of the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida.
Support the cause. We gotta keep the amendment.
But today, another group of Rockledge High School students said not every voice was heard.
I'm pro Second Amendment. I wouldn't mind deeper background checks, of course, but Second Amendment will not be infringed.
But the media doesn't want to talk to any students. Not those students, anyway. I mean, not those students. It'll be like a different one. Like, they don't want to talk to any of those. Anyway. So, welcome back. Third hour of the program. At D-Lash on Twitter, official Dana Lash on Facebook. This, I have to share with you this crazy story that I saw. And it was really, this is one of the rudest, most uninformed and uneducated things I've ever read. Amanda Marcotte, who is basically, Amanda Marcotte is what happens when angsty feminists can't get any audience on LiveJournal anymore. So they take their LiveJournal quality writings and they get Salon, which publishes everything from defending pedophilia to defending man-boy love. So it seems fitting that she would take her writing there, right? I mean, Salon is basically like what would happen if 4chan ran a website like this, right? So she takes issue with the NRA Women's Leadership Forum luncheon. Now, I'm not talking about this because I work with them. It's separate from radio. I have to say that to people who read with pictures. But it aggravates me because I've been to a number of those, and she has no idea what she's talking about. So this is the headline that this chick, and we've invited her to come on my program, Relentless, at 5 p.m. Central tonight. And she's never gone to one of these things, mind you, ever. But she knows all about them. And so the NRA Women's Leadership Forum luncheon, they always have people speak at it. I've given remarks before. So many people have spoken at this thing. Last year it was Kellyanne Conway. This year they invited Tucker Carlson to speak. Well, that was just too much for Mandy. So she wrote this. This is the stupid headline. Mansplaining guns and gender. Tucker Carlson to address NRA women's group. Inviting a virulent sexist to speak at a women's luncheon exposes the deep vein of misogyny in the gun lobby. And it goes on and on and on and on. And so she says that he's apathetic towards women's rights, but doesn't explain why or define what women's rights are. And says that she sent an email to the Women's Leadership Forum contact asking why the group would hire Carlson for an event that's supposed to be about women's work and leadership. And she says that on one hand, the organization is aware that it's a political problem for the public to see gun owners as a bunch of sexist pigs with weird male dominance fantasies. On the other hand, the gun industry can't afford to go jeopardize its customer base, which largely consists of those insecure men brimming with toxic masculinity. Yeah, okay. So when she's not making yarn balls for her mini cats, Amanda decides to write about events that she's never been to. So she's basically, the gist of it is that it's sexist to invite a man to speak at a women's luncheon. Because why? Was she mad when Kellyanne Conway spoke at it last year? Because I was there. What, nothing on that? Is it still nothing? I mean, can't women determine who they want to invite to speak? Susan LaPierre runs this thing. Can they not determine who they want to invite to speak? Are women not allowed to do that? I mean, maybe when Amanda's done lint brushing her cat hair off of her black pants, maybe she can address that. So, because there have been numerous men and women that have spoken at the luncheon. It's whoever the ladies there want to invite. They can invite whoever the hell they want. Snowflake, what business is it of yours? Sensitive much? And so, by the way, at the Women's Leadership Forum, there exist women who have been hunting and shooting longer than Amanda has been alive and have been members of the NRA longer than Amanda has been alive, which is quite a long time, but still longer than she's been alive. They can explain guns and hunting and target acquisition and so much more 6 ways to Sunday to whomever it is that they have speak on that stage. And they take time to recognize and award women's contributions to the two-way community. And if Amanda knew anything about this luncheon, it is filled with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women. It sells out every single year. They have to increase this. It sells out early every single year. They have to increase the size every single year. And here's the problem. Here's where Amanda is the sexist, because people like her, these supposed air quote feminists, they love to portray one group as being of something while ignoring the actual females within the group. I mean, how are you going to sit here and say it's sexist that a bunch of women wanted to invite a man to go and speak where men and women have previously spoken? And how sexist is it of Amanda to completely ignore the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of women who go to the annual meetings that they have every single year? How much more sexist can you be, girl? That's what I find so ridiculous. You know what? Women, people like Amanda, and here's another sexist tactic that they do. They refuse to acknowledge the women who are involved and who are participating so that they can try to portray the Second Amendment as being something that only old white dudes enjoy. They purposefully ignore any minority contributions, any female contributions at all whatsoever. They will ignore them in a racist manner because it fits better with their narrative as to how they want to project the Second Amendment and those who support it. So there's your sexism. Maybe you could write, I don't know, a trillion-word navel-gazing missive about that and publish it at Pedophiles or Us, over at Salon, Amanda. This is what I find ridiculous. I mean, this is just, and she's never even been there. She has never, ever been there at all, ever. She's never been to one of these things. Everything that she knows about it is only something that she's figured out online. And then at the very bottom, she cites a debunked Arthur Kellerman study about how the number of women that are killed by having firearms. Arthur Kellerman, and this is something that Everytown uses ad nauseum, and they refuse to cite absolutely anything. It's pretty ridiculous. But they cite this Kellerman study. And Arthur Kellerman decided that he wanted to disarm women. And so he did this crazy study wherein it was women who he wanted to look at women who were killed with their own firearm in their own home. And this is why it's dangerous and why women shouldn't have guns. But the unfortunate aspect of that is he actually had to pad his data to include women who were attacked outside of the home by assailants with assailants' firearms, not the women's own firearm. And he hid his methodology for quite some time until Gary Kleck and other criminologists busted him on it. So it's completely discredited, but it's still used ad nauseum by third wave feminists and the anti-gun lobby, because they can't stand women being able to have firearms. Look, if you're worried about women hurting themselves with their firearms, maybe quit trying to shame women that go out and get training for wanting to use their firearms properly. You big, fat sexist. How about that? How about instead of talking about, well, women are more likely to blah, 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 how about you focus on making sure that women are empowered and encouraged to go out and get training and the education needed to overcome an assailant with their Second Amendment right? You giant sexist. How about you do that? Instead of writing about how somehow you think women are empowered enough to go and stick scissors in the back of their baby's head while it's still in utero, but they're too stupid to carry a firearm and figure out how to defend their lives, you big, ginormous, moronic sexist. How about that? That's what gets me. Ugh. Anyway, I'll be talking more about that. I don't know if she's accepted my invitation or not. We'll see. We'll see how far the bravery and the courage of convictions extends for some of these people. In the meantime, moving on here. Look, there are 2 days that you like your timeshare. It is the day that you get it, and then the day that you get rid of it, right? Those are the best 2 days. After you suffer through the annual maintenance fees and all the mortgage payments that suck hundreds, even thousands of dollars out of your wallet every month, it's safe to say that getting out of your timeshare is really something to celebrate. Just ask the Timeshare Freedom Group. Now, if you need to free yourself from your worthless timeshare, you got to call the Timeshare Freedom Group now. They have a great team of experts. They're going to get you out of your contract, whether you've had it for 30 days or 30 years. Timeshare Freedom Group has helped tens of thousands of people get rid of their timeshares. And Timeshare Freedom Group has a 100% money-back guarantee. So quit paying those bank-breaking annual maintenance fees and outrageous mortgage payments. Take your first step towards celebrating your freedom from spending another dime on that timeshare you hate by calling the Timeshare Freedom Group now at 855-212-4255. That's 855-212-4255.
Listen live around the world
at DanaRadio.com.
Gosh, Grandpa Rather is so mad still over the Sinclair thing. He's, remember, this is the guy, Memogate, Rathergate. He pushed out 6 documents about Bush's service in Air National Guard from 72 to 73, right? 4 of them, he presented 4 of them as being 1,000% authentic. And then later he had to admit, we didn't authenticate the documents. Oh, dude. Oh, man. I'm going to let you finish, Dan, but you didn't authenticate the documents. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so I have to update you over Peak Eichenwald's status right now. So this is what's up. So Kurt Eichenwald started going at Kyle Khrushchev earlier today, like right at the start of the show. And he had emailed my friend Ben Shapiro and told Ben, I'm working on a story about your relationship with Kyle, but don't tell Kyle. And I had literally said all this. Literally, I'm quoting it. And then said, I've had a psychiatrist secretly analyze Kyle, which is totally fine for a middle-aged man to do who looks like he's Cartman's friend from South Park. So actually, he would look like the creeper who would try to pick up Cartman on South Park. Anyway, does that mean to say I'm sure that's not true, but I'm just saying you what just thoughts as they come into my head. And so anyway, it went back and forth. And then, because yesterday he said he was an MSNBC contributor and MSNBC said, no, he's not. And then when he emailed Ben, he put Kurt Eichenwald, contributing editor, Vanity Fair. And it's in his bio. Kurt Eichenwald, contributing editor, Vanity Fair. And Vanity Fair's like, he has not published anything with us since 2014 and he does not work with us. He doesn't even go here. So good. And in fact, someone with Vanity Fair said, Max Tanney said, quote, this is obviously insane, but worth noting that Eichenwald is not on the VF masthead and last published at VF in 2014. In fact, he was listed in a more recent VF story as Newsweek's Kurt Eichenwald. Oh, he doesn't write at Newsweek either. Ouch. Yeah. Dang, that's cold. Ooh, ice cold. Whew. So, and then it gets better, but there's more. What? This is like the yellow bonus stripe on the magazine. So then Max Tanney said, statement from Vanity Fair spokesperson, quote, Kurt Eichenwald is not a contributing editor at Vanity Fair. Brian Stelter tweets DM just now from Kurt Eichenwald. I'm a contributing editor. No, you're not. I shouldn't be gloating, but I'm not. I'm just presenting the news to you. Anyway, so there it is. Oh, man, he's got more time for tentacle hentai. There you go.
Well, this proves, obviously, we can believe anything that he says.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
I know. Good stuff, Maynard. Let's kick it into some Quick Five.
It's time for Dana's Quick Five.
People are still mad over my bun that I wore on television the other night. Yeah. I mean, it's really, it's crazy. Yeah. Somebody said I had a weave. I'm sorry, but this is news. No, that is my own natural luscious hair. Jealous. It's mine. Moving on. So this is crazy. I read this story yesterday. A newborn baby, this was in India, was snatched by a monkey. It just was straight up snatched by a monkey. The mom was doing chores outside when her sleeping baby was grabbed, 16 days old, from his mother's side in a village in eastern India. Police searched frantically along with 2,000 locals. They found the baby. It happened about 6 a.m. The mom was outside doing chores. The baby was sleeping next to her. And the monkey it was so quick. The mom immediately started screaming and trying to get help. But the monkey, she couldn't get a hold of the monkey. The monkey grabbed the baby and disappeared from view. And they said that There were only bruises on the child's left hand. They said he might have slipped from the clutches of the monkey and died. He was found in a well. They said that he died after falling into a well. Awful. There's a huge monkey menace, and they're a menace. They're considered a menace in that area. They can't be killed because of certain observations, but they're considered to be a menace in the area. Clearly, this is like the Dingo Ate My Baby, that movie with Meryl Streep, but this is like the monkey. I don't like them. Ugh. All right, moving on down the line. Facebook blames a bug for keeping copies of all your deleted private videos. Oops. And they're just under fire. More fallout from the Cambridge Analytica data scandal last month. It was revealed that Facebook stored deleted videos. Today they said, well, it was a bug that mistakenly forced us to save all of your private deleted videos. And they've never actually made it clear whether or not Facebook used the footage in any other manner. So, anyway, I just, okay. Oh, boy. Let's see. Yes, I need to do this one. I can't believe this. This is the Tide Pod generation. USA Today says the condom snorting challenge. This is horrible. They're like doing it like, I guess, I had to have somebody explain this to me this morning. It's like a neti pot, but with the condom, and they snort it and then they pull it out. That's disgusting. What in the hell is wrong with you people? Stop it. Golly. This is horrible. And they said you can get an infection and or die or choke to death doing this. So stop it.
Let's just have this generation make decisions.
Like, seriously, do you guys not have Angry Birds on your phone? Like, come on. Like, anything. Who does this? Who sits around and is like, I'm going to do this? Good night. Stay with us. More of The Dana Show right after this.
It's The Dana Show.
There's something very similar going on here with Sinclair's promos. They're saying, trust us. We're fair. We're the ones that are honest. Don't believe the others. And that is sort of an echo of President Trump's anti-media messaging. I think the other notable piece of this, Brianna, is that President Trump this morning weighed in on Twitter. He said Sinclair is superior to CNN and NBC and other networks. He's really making people choose or essentially choosing for them news outlets he approves of and news outlets he doesn't approve of.
Now here coming up, we're going to talk to my friend Javier Menares, who is going to be running for office in Florida. And he's been involved in media for quite a long time. We're going to talk to him here in just a minute. But where it concerns the Sinclair situation, this is, again, just when that Tribune deal goes through, that's going to make Sinclair the biggest. It'll make them the biggest player in the game. I mean, it really will. And that's what people are reacting to, because they don't want to lose that influence. I mean, that's just, bottom line. They don't want to lose the influence. So, that is, it's going to happen. And they just probably just want to go ahead and get used to it. Bottom line. Now, of course, and we've talked a lot about Parkland, and I was telling you a little bit earlier about how the school, which I broke last night on NRA TV in an exclusive piece, one of the staff members, one of the teachers at Parkland, at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School, came out and said that there actually was a threat assessment performed on the school months ahead of the shooting, but that the school failed to follow up on any of it. They didn't implement any of it. And one of those recommendations from the Secret Service person, who apparently was the one who was brought out to provide this, they came out and said that, hey, one of the recommendations was when you pull a fire alarm, how about not everybody run out into the hallway, because you don't want to go from something known, a secure area, into something unknown, and you have no idea what's happening out there. And so none of that stuff, they never implemented any of these. We're going to follow up on that tonight. But in this, I said if people were truly outraged, they would be talking about this. People like Congressman Ted Deutsch would be talking about this. It's amazing because he was running his mouth at me at that town hall. He was a very nasty man. My husband sat next to him during the town hall, and my husband could not believe some of the stuff that was coming out of this congressman's mouth. I'm not surprised, but my husband was very shocked. So it seemed that he does more grandstanding than he actually does anything else. And so now, of course, you can imagine he's going to be challenged coming up in the general election. And one of those individuals who's thrown their hat in the ring is Javier Menares, who has announced, I believe, this morning. And he also runs the Shark Tank, a website that has chronicled news and politics in Florida for a long time. Javier joins us on the phone right now. Javier, welcome to the show. I saw that the Sun Sentinel announced it just about 9 hours ago that you have officially thrown your hat into the ring to challenge Ted Deutsch for his congressional seat.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. And yeah, about the entire news here in Florida has been inundated with this announcement. They were predisposed to this. They wanted this to happen. The news wants a bloodbath, a fight, if you would, between Ted and I, because they know how soft he is and they know how hard I can hit, pun intended. So again, this is we're in it. We've been bullying this over for quite some time. And like you said, he's a very nasty man. I mean, I've had experience with him where he's a nice guy, if you would, but for the most part, he hides behind the Debbie Wasserman Schultz of the world. He hides behind their skirt. He's lockstep with their liberal agenda and their gun grab agenda. He just doesn't get the name recognition because she overshadows him. But now with the Parkland shooting, let me just say that I went to school right down the street from Parkland in Coral Springs. With the year I graduated, kids from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, they just opened that school up. The underclassmen were going over that school. I have friends who went to that school, and he actually lied the day after he had the shooting. He stated that he lived in Parkland. That fool doesn't live in Parkland. He lives in Boca Raton. The Sun Sentinel called him out on it, but gave him a pass and said, but he only lives 5 miles from the actual city. But he stated he lived in the city. And this is how far he'll go for political expediency. He'll go that far to exploit the 17 murders and the numerous victims that resonated from that actual shooting.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know that about him. I did not know that he had said that. So he tweeted it. Sounds a little yeah. That's fascinating. You know what, with Ted Deutsch, I mean, this guy, obviously, if he was so involved with that particular area, when you always kind of stay in touch with where you come from, and you always kind of know, everything that's going on. And particularly since gun control is such a hugely important issue to him, it just seems amazing to me that he has not pushed for or fought for any sort of safety or any kind of security measures. Like, he was one of the Democrats that he wasn't looking to have the NICS system fixed. He wasn't looking to make sure that states are reporting all their criminal convictions in, so that people who are prohibited possessors can't go out and legally get a firearm. He wasn't one of those guys he seemed to be attacking people like Marco Rubio, and making claims that Rubio wasn't doing anything in Congress. But what has Deutsch done, though, Javier?
Well, he's done absolutely nothing. Look, even when President Obama controlled the entire government, what did Ted Deutsch offer? Absolutely nothing. The Obama administration didn't even offer anything to control guns, if you would. But now, all of a sudden, we have this the messiah of the gun lobby, or the anti-gun lobby, in Ted Deutsch, and all he's doing is exploiting this. I mean, his Twitter feed is unbelievable. It's all he's talking about is guns, 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 and praising these kids. God bless them for having they're expressing their First Amendment right, but Jesus, these guys, it's unbelievable what he's doing. It's ad nauseum he's been doing this, and it's downright sick. I mean, it's a sickness, I think, because I don't think he has anything else to offer. And he actually, let me rephrase that, he doesn't have anything else to offer, because all he's done over the years is espouse the same lame, un-American, unconstitutional policies that his buddy President Obama has offered up to us, and that's all he's done. Now like I said, he's become this messiah of the anti-gun lobby. And at the end of the day, let me just tell you, like I stated today, we're gonna force feed him his votes, and he's gonna have to answer for all his votes. And this thing will blow over, this whole gun issue. But we expect him to kind of keep exploiting it and trying to raise dollars off it. Like he's saying everyone else is raising dollars off the NRA and other gun rights organizations. He's actually raising money off the fringe element of his party that is against guns. And I wouldn't be surprised if he proposed a bill to ban squirt guns or water guns. That's how far I think he'll go.
What is your response to the story that came out yesterday where the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, they had, and Carrie Pickett reported this story with me, we broke it last night, it was discovered, according to a teacher at the school and numerous sources there also, that there was a security threat assessment done on the school just months before the shooting took place. And nothing was followed up on, nothing was implemented. And, we heard too, just days after this, or actually a couple of weeks after the shooting took place, the younger brother of this nut job, this murderer, was able to just bypass the doors and gates and was at the school. He wanted to, quote, according to Miami Herald, soak it up. Apparently he became very fascinated with all the coverage that his brother was receiving. Knowing all of this, knowing that the school did not implement, they knew enough that there was a security threat, but they didn't do anything with the recommendations that came out of an assessment. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I'm not surprised because I've lived here all my life, and I know my mom was a school teacher with the school board, and it's just a failed organization. But here's the thing, as you know, and you're pointing the thing right at it, and this is where people like Ted Deutsch refuse to acknowledge who the real person at fault is. Obviously, Nicolas Cage is a deranged psychopath who has issues, but also who is just as complicit as he is the school board and the Broward Sheriff's Office, because they failed. They let this guy slip through their fingers. This guy should have been arrested a long time ago, and they let him slide. And the report that you guys broke, look, I'm not surprised about it because I know the inner workings of the Broward School Board because my mom had to deal with them. They actually pushed my mom out of her school after 13, 14 years because she didn't placate to what they wanted as far as graduation standards. At that,
so a lot of the stuff that they had with the Obama Department of Education, because I know that there were there's so much with Common Core and Race to the Top, and then of course the Promise program, which was implemented at that school as well. What are some of the things, Javier, that you're hearing in Florida? Because Florida used to be pretty reliably red for a while, and then a lot of different areas got very purple. What are you hearing? Because I know so far you're the first one declared. You already have there's the America First Agenda Super PAC. You've raised a lot of money so far, according to some of the federal filings that are out. Miami Herald's following this race. What are you hearing?
Well, as far as what? As far as the shooting, or
no, some of the support that you're hearing from people in and around that district. What are you hearing from your potential voters?
Well, look, first of all, we've been all inundated with the shooting, unfortunately, but while everyone understands why this happens and knows why this happens, they're appalled of how many people are buckling. A lot of Republicans, independents, are buckling to the left as far as how they're pushing upon this gun grab. A lot of people are waking up to it. They kind of like snapped out of it and they say, look, for a minute we got emotional there, but at the end of the day, this is about our constitutional rights. For the most part, I think people are coming out of that little dream, if you would. And as far as voters, look, they want someone who's actually going to express themselves and speak to their needs in the district and speak to their rights, because at the end of the day, this is strictly about our constitutional rights. It's funny how these people can, it's okay for them to support the First Amendment. Again, we have to support every single verse of the Constitution. That's what Deutsch and them did. They swore to uphold the Constitution. They didn't uphold. People are kind of good.
Yeah, I was going to say you were breaking up there a little bit, Javier. Sorry, go ahead.
No, people are taken back about what happened, but they're coming out of it. They've been shell shocked, but they're coming out of it now. They're focusing more on the issues. They understand what happened, and again, the issues that matter is tax reform. The issues that matter to them are the economy and the jobs growth. And Governor Scott's done a great job here in Florida, and they see that. But they also see that a lot of these wedge issues like illegal immigration, gay rights, all the stuff that the Democrats like Deutsch are pushing, is specifically now the gun grab. They see it as a distraction, but again, that's par for the course for the Democrat Party. They thrive off wedge issues because they can't make any substantive argument on any of their issues or any issues for that matter.
Yeah, well, and I'm interested to see how this all unfolds, because I think this is going to be one of the more explosive races going into the next election. Javier Menares, we're going to follow it, obviously. You can find him at VoteJavi, Javi, on Twitter. Javier, always good to talk with you. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Dana. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And we have a lot more in store, folks. We have Today in Stupidity coming up. Before we get going, there's a company out there that supports your natural rights, and they also support your issues, which is why they don't give your cell phone bill money that you pay them for your service to groups like Planned Parenthood, because that's what I found out. That's where I found out my money was going with my previous cell phone provider. So I switched it up 3 years ago to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile only supports conservative organizations in addition to giving you the best cell phone service. You get great coverage. You get better prices. There are more competitive plans. They have real live people right here in the US of A. So when you call, you get to talk to somebody. Unlike Big Mobile, who funds progressivism and uses your money to do just that. Right now, Patriot Mobile is offering the Backlash Special. So when you sign up with Patriot Mobile, or even if you just add a line, you'll get an autographed hardcover copy of my first book, Hands Off My Gun. This is the limited time. You have to do it while supplies last, so don't miss this exclusive offer only from Patriot Mobile, the Backlash Special. And when you sign up with Patriot Mobile or add a line, you'll get an autographed hardcover copy of my book, Hands Off My Gun. PatriotMobile.com/Dana, 1-800-A-PATRIOT.
The Dana Show is now available on demand. Subscribe on iTunes and get full episodes delivered right to your phone.
So I'm just, the Kurt Eichenwald thing is still amusing to me. I just keep checking in on that while we were on break, because it's still pretty interesting. I'll have developments, by the way, on the latest with the Stoneman Douglas School and the security assessment that was done as well. But I mean, it's just I just think that if people were truly concerned about saving lives, instead of talking and writing articles about whether or not I like Neil Young's music, or wear my hair in a bun, they would be talking about this. Because literally there have been reams written about both of those things, and they haven't written anything about that story. I mean, if it's about saving lives, which is why it's not. I mean, they betray themselves all the time. It's not. But I mean, it's just that's what, and I think everybody should ask at their kids' school too, and ask, whether or not what their school's standard operating procedure is. Have they ever had any kind of a security? Have they ever had an assessment? Have they ever done anything like that? That's one of the things that they really, you need to ask your school that. You need to find that out. And I think that every parent should know, what is the security situation? What is what happens if somebody pulls a firearm? I mean, fire alarm. What do teachers do? What is the school policy? I remember when I was in school, we had to stay in the classroom until we were evacuated through the loudspeaker. Just because, and that makes sense because you don't know what you're walking out into, and that makes sense. So, and that was one of the recommendations to the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, and they didn't implement it, among others. So we'll talk more about that coming up. But in the meantime, Today in Stupidity.
Well, we're going to have to go with Brian Stelter on this one, because he talks about how the president says he's against the media, but the president has never said he's against the free press or the media. He's always said he's against fake news, but they don't want to talk about that. But here is Brian Stelter on that subject.
Very similar going on here with Sinclair's promos. They're saying, trust us, we're fair, we're the ones that are honest, don't believe the others. And that is sort of an echo of President Trump's anti-media messaging.
It's not anti-media.
I think the other notable piece of this, Brianna, is that President Trump this morning weighed in on Twitter. He said Sinclair is superior to CNN and NBC and other networks. He's really making people choose, or essentially choosing for them, news outlets he approves of and news outlets he doesn't approve of.
Okay. Again, they're so butthurt over the idea that President Trump hates them. I mean, they have more hatred for him than he could ever have for them, but it's still...
Yeah.
They're
it's
always
still,
butthurt about it.
Yeah, they're always. See, this is, I mean, you guys are like making the case for Sinclair. Tonight, Relentless on NRA TV, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in. A lot of good stuff. We'll talk about the latest immigration standoff. What happened? Mexico apparently rerouted the marching mob. We'll talk about all that and more. 5 p.m. Central. Have a great night. Back with you tomorrow.